Now we begin with security matters this hour. The kidnappers of the retired General Maharazu Tsiga, a former Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, has demanded a ransom of 250 million naira for his release. Sources say the family of the abducted retired general was contacted late Friday night by the kidnappers' ringleader who made the demand. Tsiga was kidnapped alongside several other residents of Tsiga village in Kankara local government area of Katsina State. The abduction occurred on Wednesday when armed assailants stormed his residence. During the attack, 2 residents sustained injuries, while one of the attackers was reportedly shot dead by his own accomplices. In the meantime, the Anambra State Police Command has arrested 9 suspects allegedly involved in the killing of Justice Azuka, the member representing Onitsha North 1 constituency in State House of Assembly. The Commissioner of Police in Anambra, Ngage Itam, announced the arrest in a press statement, saying a joint security team on a mission to rescue the abducted lawmaker discovered his lifeless body. Itam added that on the same day Azuka's body was found, security operatives in collaboration with Anambra State vigilante operatives acting on intelligence-led operations apprehended 9 suspects believed to have played an active role in the killing. According to Itam, 2 pump-action guns were recovered from the suspects. He added that one of them sustained a gunshot wound to the leg during an exchange of fire with the police. Meanwhile, police in Anambra say they are giving a period of grace to vehicle owners in the state to register for the third-party insurance. Outgoing Commissioner of Police in the state, Obono Itam, during a sensitization program at the police headquarters, says it is necessary for all security agents on checkpoints and drivers to understand the requirements and procedures. The stakeholders, however, expressed their concerns about the planned implementation while calling for extension of time for proper sensitization.
We also have across the state, there will be checks, there will be simultaneous mobile courts, there will be simultaneous licensing registrations in all the places where these checks will be going on statewide for the entire 7 days. And part of why we're doing this, so we'll have people in Anambra State aware, and no one will say they don't know what is going on.
Some insurance company has been licensed to issue the third party, even the comprehensive insurance. All you need to do is to Google. Once you are issue the insurance, third party insurance, you Google the name, whether it's among the licensed company.
We want to know the consequences of defaulters so that we will be able to pass this message very, very well to them.
They spoke about third-party insurance and also comprehensive insurance. Sometimes it's confusing. So I need a detailed explanation to differentiate the two.
With constant sensitization, the drivers out there will get to understand what they have just said here today.
Staying with security matters, suspected pirates have hijacked a passenger boat carrying 20 travelers along the Boni-Okrika waterways in Rivers State. This comes as the Boni Local Government Council said it had rescued 9 of the passengers, while a frantic search is underway to rescue the others. Chairman of the council, Anengi Claude Wilcox, said the rescue was in collaboration with security agencies. Claude Wilcox said on Friday that the driver of the passenger boat went contrary to the rule to pass through kilometer 10, which is a prohibited channel for commercial boat drivers. Meanwhile, the Maritime Union Workers of Nigeria Rivers State chapter has expressed worry over the continued pirate attacks in the state, calling heightened security presence in the mangroves. And in the meantime, gunmen suspected to be bandits have attacked a mosque in Bushe community, Sabon Birni in Sokoto State. They are believed to have kidnapped no fewer than 10 worshippers, including the imam. Eyewitnesses revealed that the gunmen invaded the mosque on Thursday while worshippers were performing their early morning Shabir prayer. Residents said the gunmen had been molesting the people of the community for some time now, even with the presence of security agents. They noted that the timely intervention of the security agents led by the troops of Nigerian Army was able to curtail the activities of the gunmen. The Sokoto State Police Command has also confirmed the attack. Now let's tell you that over 7,000 Nigerian refugees in Chad have started their journey back home after spending more than 10 years in exile due to the Boko Haram insurgency. The Nigerian government, in collaboration with the Chadian government and humanitarian agencies, have provided buses, food supplies and basic necessities to facilitate their return to Borno State. Here, News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
For the past 10 years, these Nigerian families have struggled to survive the atrocities of terrorists. They stayed in Bagasola, Chad Republic, following their displacement from their ancestral homes. Their faces beam with smiles as repatriation efforts begin, following improved security in the Lake Chad region, a crucial step in the post-insurgency recovery. Borno State Governor, along with Nigeria's State Minister for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, signed a tripartite agreement in Bagasola between the governments of Nigeria, Chad and the United Nations High Commission for Refugees.
Republic na Chad akan ɗan wantaka da suka nuna mana da kuma tallafawa da suka yi da kuma shi kanshi gwamna da ƴan ƙasa wannan province da suka zama abin nan.
We are fully committed to ensuring that this structural framework enables a coordinated and gradual process, guaranteeing refugees a return under the best possible conditions.
The returnees, mainly women and children, according to the government, will be reintegrated into their original communities or communities of choice.
We are here to witness the first batch of the repatriation exercise, and I want to commend the federal government of Chad, and I also want to most respectfully commend the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who has given us all the necessary support in order to facilitate this voluntary return. And I want to commend the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, commend the Refugee Commission of Nigeria for supporting this mission. On my own part, as the governor of Borno State, I will continue to provide the support. And above all, let me commend the Nigerian military, commend the military of the Republic of Chad for providing the enabling environment for the government of Nigeria and the people of the government of Borno State to ensure safe return of our people to their ancestral land.
As these refugees head back home to Nigeria, it is the first steps in a long journey to pick up the shattered pieces of their lives. In Bagasola, Chad Republic, for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has dismissed reports of an explosion in the Warri refinery. The company stated that operations at the refinery remain intact, with 8 trucks of diesel and kerosene being loaded daily. According to a statement issued on Friday by NNPCL's Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Olufemi Shuneye, the controlled adjustment of operations on 25 January was deliberate. Shuneye emphasized that claims of an explosion at the refinery complex were entirely false. He added that NNPCL remains committed to ensuring an uninterrupted supply of petroleum products and appreciates the patience and cooperation of stakeholders as essential maintenance activities continue. Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission has assured citizens of its commitment to prosecute election offenders. This comes after the anti-graft agency revealed that 774 cases are ongoing in court. The chairman of the commission, during an interactive session with the media in Abuja as part of its first quarter consultative meeting, says this has been made possible through a collaboration with the Nigerian Bar Association and has recorded success in several cases. He, however, expressed concern, saying many cases are still pending.
Through our collaboration with the Nigerian Bar Association, cases involving 774 alleged offenders from the 2023 general election are being prosecuted. So far, successful prosecutions have been recorded in Kebbi and Kogi states, while our collaboration with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, on vote buying has yielded similar results in Lagos, Kwara, and Gombe states. Yet, many cases are still pending.
An election observation group has criticized reports claiming that the recent governorship polls in Edo State and Ondo State were peaceful, despite recorded cases of pre-election and post-election related violence. The Kimpact Development Initiative, in its report on election violence during the 2024 Edo and Ondo off-cycle governorship elections, says there is a need to examine events leading to the polls, including those during and after the elections. They urged stakeholders to effectively collaborate as preparations reaches a climax for the upcoming Anambra State governorship elections in a bid to prevent a recurrence of the incidents witnessed in previous polls.
In Edo State, a policeman died before the election. And that is one of the things we've highlighted in our report, that we should not be judging a peaceful election on what happened on election day. It's a process. So what happened a month to the election is very critical to what happened on the election day. Because naturally, what happened on election day is going to be a bit limited, because police restrict movement, and then you have limited, and then they flood most of those states with a lot of security agencies. So on that election day, you are likely going to have peaceful election, but our finding shows that the neglect of pre-election and then post-election is something we need to begin to tackle.
Now, more on politics. There seems to be no end in sight for the crisis affecting the New Nigeria People's Party, as two factions in the party are claiming to control its leadership. The faction, loyal to the former governor of Kano State, Rabiu Kwankwaso, says that the recent national convention of the party held in Lagos State remains null and void, insisting that the convention lacks legitimacy. Central Sagir Ibrahim brings us more detail.
In his opening remarks, the chairman of the Kwankwaso-led NNPP faction disowned the party's national convention and inauguration of a new leadership, saying that the National Working Committee of the party was not aware of the convention.
It is clearly against the law and against common decency for any group under the guise of any identity different from what I have enumerated above to refer itself as NNPP. For this reason, therefore, the NNPP did not have any national convention in recent times, and so we did not inaugurate any new national working committee.
He further alleged that the expelled members behind the Lagos Convention are being sponsored by external forces who are intent on destabilizing the party ahead of the 2027 general election.
It must be the same obvious forces that seek to bring chaos and disorder in all other opposition political parties in our democracy. For those same forces, the best case scenario in the lead up to 2027 is the absence of all opposition, knowing full well that 2027 would practically be unsurmountable for them, given the rampant weaponization of hunger and desperation across the land.
Meanwhile, the Agbo Major-led faction of the party maintains that no court order has barred its members from parading themselves as NNPP officials. Speaking in a telephone interview with News Central, Agbo Major says that there has been no formal communication from any competent court in the country restricting their activities. Major further accused the Kwankwaso-led faction of misrepresenting the facts before the public and failing to provide substantial evidence to support their claims. In Abuja, Sagir Ibrahim for News Central.
Welcome back. To the judiciary now. A bill seeking to insulate judicial officers from prosecution by the Code of Conduct Bureau has passed the second reading at the House of Representatives. Solomon Bob, a People's Democratic Party member from Rivers State, sponsored the bill to amend Sections 20 and 24 of the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Acts 2004. The bill intends to sequester judicial officers from prosecution until they are legally removed from office under Section 229, rather make that 292, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution. The debate on the bill began on Wednesday, but was suspended after it was discovered that not all members had copies of the proposed legislation. Clement Jimbo from Akwa Ibom had proposed the bill, arguing that the proposed law seeks to give judicial officers immunity. To the education sector now. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa has dismissed claims that the federal government has scrapped the 6334 education system, merging junior and senior secondary school classes and replacing them with a 12-year basic education system. The minister, while refuting a claim during a press conference in the nation's capital, Abuja, said that the proposal is being considered and has been presented to the Extraordinary National Council on Education for deliberation and expected consensus by all stakeholders. He says that the initiative aims to improve the standard of education in the country and improve students' access to education, making it free and compulsory.
And I want to clearly clear the sensationalization that has gone out since yesterday, that the Federal Ministry of Education, the federal government, has scrapped GSS and SS, primary school GSS and SS education. We have not. That still stays. What we're saying is that we need to move from what we have now as 9 years compulsory education to 12 years of compulsory education as it's obtained in other parts of the world. If you look back into the history of Nigeria, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people that that went through the primary education then and got up to standard 6. If you compare the level of education, the level of instruction, even as standard 3 then, it's much better.
The National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has proposed a death penalty for drug peddlers. According to the Director General of the agency, Mojisola Adeyeye, only stiff penalties will deter peddlers, especially when it leads to the death of children. The NAFDAC DG is also seeking the cooperation of the judiciary and the National Assembly to make such a move a reality. According to her, the agency is open to partnering with lawmakers and other stakeholders on the matter. Nigeria witnessed a significant exodus of its citizens in 2024 as many sought better opportunities abroad. Despite tougher immigration policies from top destination countries, the trend is set to continue in 2025. Now here News Central's Ibalani Omoni reports.
Nigeria, a country rich in resources and talent, continues to struggle with retaining its citizens. Despite government assurances of progress, many Nigerians remain desperate for an escape. Embassies remain overwhelmed, with UK alone processing over 200,000 visas for Nigerians across all categories in the first half of 2024. The pursuit of better education, healthcare, and economic opportunities remain a powerful driving force.
Even as a student here, you earn enough to take care of yourself, to take care of your family. 400 PhD students in the UK and the US earn more than their monthly income is more than what a professor in Nigeria earns.
While some Nigerians in diaspora warn against migration, citing harsh conditions abroad, top destinations have imposed tougher entry restrictions. The United States has tightened its expanded expedited removal rules, work permit regulations, and asylum policies. Canada's express entry system now heavily favors skilled workers with a confirmed job offers. The United Kingdom imposes strict income thresholds and soaring living costs, making relocation increasingly challenging. The once popular diversity visa lottery is no longer an option for most, as eligibility is now limited to those born outside Nigeria or with foreign-born parents. Despite these barriers, many Nigerians remain resolute in their desire to leave.
After 5 years, I'm going to be a better person, I would have had the qualification I desired to have. I would have been practicing in the field of my desire. My children would have had the kind of quality education I want them to have.
However, migration comes at a cost, both financially and emotionally. The Nigerian government insists it is addressing the root causes of mass migration, but public skepticism remains high.
We must begin to look into the reversal of the jackpot syndrome. We cannot keep, as a country, we cannot be comfortable losing the best of our kind. And there we have also identified a few steps that we can build our economy here using our diaspora energy.
As debate over migration persists, one reality is clear. The search for a better life continues to drive countless Nigerians beyond the nation's borders. Until sustainable solutions emerge, the question remains, how many more will leave Nigeria in 2025? In Lagos for News Central, I am Igbalani Omoni.
The Nigerian community in Johannesburg is calling on the federal government to tackle the pressing issues affecting Nigerians living in South Africa. These include safety concerns, legal challenges, and opportunities for cultural integration. President of the Nigerian Citizens Association South Africa, Frank Onyekwelu, made this appeal while speaking on News Central's Breakfast Extra program.
Their concerns, their challenges, the issues that we go through day by day here in South Africa, and the honorable members of the House are privileged to hear issues and concerns ranging from the challenges in accessing and obtaining our Nigerian national passport document and the NIN acquirement here in South Africa, which has made it so difficult for some citizens to be running around the street without a valid passport, without a valid documentation. And we also raise concerns about our residence permits in South Africa, where it's challenging for some citizens to obtain this immigration documents that grants them legality to remain in the country. It was also brought to the attention of our officials the brutality and the police deaths that have been occurring on a very alarming speed. Even currently, as we speak, there is an incident of 2 Nigerians that were murdered in a space of 2 weeks, in 1 month, less than 1 month, in a particular province, and they died while in the custody of police authorities. Investigations are still going on. These are the concerns we brought to the attention of our officers. We also raised the issues and challenges of the economic situation in Nigeria, as we in diaspora are feeling it, hearing the cries of our brothers and sisters, our families back home, and we want to lend our voice to pray and solicit for better intervention in our governance and infrastructures. We also raise concern for the diaspora to be considered and to be granted the permission to join in voting as the next election is coming around, so that diasporas can have the opportunity to lend their voice in making decisions for better governance, for better Nigerians. These are more what we discussed in the town hall meeting, and the services we receive from our consulate offices and embassies were also brought on the table. And through it all, the House of Rep members gave us assurance, gave us hope that our concerns, our plights will be taken seriously and be brought to the federal agencies and the ministry systems that are involved, and hoping that we will get a better response, better intervention as we continue to be law-abiding here in South Africa, uphold the rule of law, and maintain the community-to-community relationship between Nigeria and South Africa.
Wife of the Niger State Governor Fatima Bago has called for urgent and practical action to combat sexual violence, stressing the need to protect the rights and dignity of vulnerable groups, particularly women and children. She made the appeal at the 3rd International Conference on Rape and Child Sexual Abuse, themed Encroachment, Identifying and Defining Boundaries. Here again, News Central's Bettina Nweli reports.
Remains a grim reality in Niger State. Despite growing advocacy and awareness, cases of rape and child sexual abuse continue to rise. According to conference convener Chenemi Bamai, the event seeks to develop long-term solutions to these persistent crimes.
As we address this year's theme, encroachment, we reflect on how societal and individual distortions deviate from God's order. Rape and sexual abuse are symptoms of humanity's fallen nature. It's an age-long problem that requires both spiritual and practical solutions.
It is at that time that it becomes critical in all cultures to start educating the child about the do's and don'ts. No, you don't dress this way. You cover yourself in this way. These parts of your body you do not let others touch. Only your parents, only your siblings can give you a bath and touch this part of your body.
The wife of the Niger State Governor, Fatima Bago, highlighted the ongoing struggle against gender-based violence. She criticized the gap between discussions at conferences and actual implementation of solutions. Speaking on the theme of the conference, the Niger State First Lady stressed that encroachment goes beyond physical violations, encompassing any act that invades another person's physical, emotional, or psychological space without consent.
The message, as always, is that we need to be very vigilant. We need to really watch out for each other, and then we need to know the particular places to go and report some of these cases, so that maybe if the perpetrators see that the law is really taking its full force in tackling the issue, maybe, just maybe, they will desist from such acts.
This platform aims to raise awareness, educate young people on self-protection, and deter sexual violence. The role of parents and teachers in preventing abuse cannot be overemphasized, as their influence is vital in equipping the next generation with the values, awareness, and resilience to combat this societal ill. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
The Association of Maritime Truck Owners has raised concerns over the potential return of severe gridlock in the Apapa area due to what they describe as an uncontrolled and biased system for truck passage into the port. The Central's maritime correspondent Neoma Obiaswalo takes us on a look to see these concerns.
A huge concern has been raised on the looming congestion at the Lagos ports. Truckers decry the alleged discriminatory policies they face, which has seen their trucks being detained at pre-gates. Yet they are being sidelined while others gain unhindered access to the ports. This current practice of call-up racketeering, shunting and policy inconsistencies is fueling congestion along the Apapa Port corridor, as when truckers get frustrated with waiting endlessly at pre-gates meant to regulate traffic, they have no other option than to bypass the normal call-up process and offer direct access, worsening road congestion.
This driver is coming from Abat. This call-up can testify to his journey history. As you can see, he accessed Abat on the 28th of January. That is when he entered Abat. He had entered Abat on the 28th of January. This call-up was confirmed on the 2nd. Then, not the 2nd. Then later, he exited Abat on the 4th. So that means he spent about 7 days in Abat. He spent 7 days in Abat before he was released from Abat. And when he exited Abat on the 4th, today's date is 6. So that means the driver has spent 2 days on the road.
And between here, he can still spend another 1 day.
And he can not more than 1 day. He can spend 2 days.
The port is not to 200.
Because they will not pass this line. It is the evacuation call-up they will be passing.
So those ones,
the evacuation,
around.
All these ones you see, they are the evacuation they will be passing. These people buying evacuation call-up, this is what they are trying to avoid by buying the evacuation call-up at all costs. Yeah, you can see the call-up. This is evacuation. This is Foru. Foru terminal. No stamp, nothing. No jota. That shows his evacuation call-up. It's direct call-up. No pre-gates.
Here in Apapa Port, here we have about 4 or 5 terminals that are serving the public, right? And I said, if those terminals are to operate optimally, they should be able to do about 2,500 boxes. APMT alone claims to be doing about 1,200 boxes in a day. But somehow, they refuse to do this because they too they are benefiting. I call the act of proprietary or pure sabotage, because a situation whereby you intentionally delay, reduce your capacity. You are not working optimally just for people truck to be delayed. I mean, container to be delayed so they can pay what we call the validation additional charges. It's very bad. If a truck and if container drop there, a container after custom paper ROC, they should not spend more than 48 hours. But they know that after 48 hours, a minute after, you are going to pay 60,000 naira to recharge, to revalidate your TDO, and have about 100 containers inside the port. So what they do now is that they try to frustrate the process so that they will not be able to release all those trucks until after 48 hours. So in essence, you will be forced to recharge, revalidate by force. So at the end of the day, they are making money from all this, because once they put it through, there won't be revalidation. So all this is now, it creates artificial scarcity. And once this is created, people try to come in, they struggle to the importer, they become desperate. They want to bring their goods out at all costs. And as a result, they are ready to pay anything. And the MPA are not even doing, they are not helping the issue because of this evacuation thing of a thing. So those trucks that are on the line, instead of passing them, they pass those one that goes out, that they show the evacuation for. Official money for evacuation is about 70,000 naira. But if you know somebody at the right place, I don't know where, what they do is that they can give you 50 evacuation. Maybe you even have 1 or 2 trucks, or maybe you don't even have trucks. Maybe you're an agent, you just apply for it. You say you want this thing, they give 50, they allocate about 60 or 100 to you. You just carry those one and sell.
They are calling on the Nigerian Ports Authority to review the direct evacuation call-up system to ensure fairness and prevent a total breakdown of traffic management in Apapa, as if left unchecked, the worsening situation could trigger severe port congestion, disrupt trade, inflict massive financial losses on businesses, and negatively impact residents and the economy. In Lagos for News Central, Norma Obiaswalo.
Welcome back. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame on Saturday met his Congolese counterpart Felix Tshisekedi in Tanzania as regional leaders convened in an effort to diffuse tensions in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Kagame and Tshisekedi are attending a joint summit in the Tanzanian city of Dar es Salaam, bringing together leaders from the 8-member East African Community and the 16-member Southern African Development Community. Since the resurgence of the M23 rebel group in 2021, multiple peace talks hosted by Angola and Kenya have failed to yield a lasting solution. Rwanda denies providing military support to the M23, but a United Nations report last year alleged that Rwanda had around 4,000 troops in the DRC and was profiting from smuggling vast quantities of gold and coltan out of the country. Now, joining us to discuss the ongoing crisis in the DRC is a foreign policy analyst, Bolu Michael B., who joins us live from Kigali, Rwanda. Bolu, once again, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Let's talk about this mess which these countries find themselves with tensions rising in the DRC. How likely is it that the crisis could spiral into a full-scale regional conflict, as many fear, given the involvement of other East African countries like South Africa as well and Malawi?
Well, thank you for having me. The issue is supposed to be strictly between Congo and Rwanda, but we are seeing external forces or states, being involved. So it has already escalated, and there's a chance that it may escalate further, because these countries, they have a stake in the economy of Congo. They have a stake in the resources, the things like that. They operate in the country, so they are getting involved because of to protect their own interest. And South Africa, they are not even they're not even part of the East African community. South Africa is in Southern Africa, same as Malawi. But these countries are involved. The SADC as well as deployed troops, to Congo. So the risk of it escalating is quite high because of the various alliances in this crisis, and also respective rivalries that have existed for many years.
So Rwanda has been accused of supporting the M23 rebels. So if regional and international bodies intensify their push for accountability, what political repercussions could this have for Kigali?
Rwanda is very strong when it comes to its reputation. They don't joke with their reputation at all. So the allegations that puts the country in a precarious situation. And if the regional and international bodies begin to ask for greater accountability from Rwanda, Rwanda may find itself being punished with maybe sanctions or isolations or damaged reputation. So this allegation kind of undermines Rwanda's effort in, portraying itself as a stabilizer in the region.
So in your view, what diplomatic measures must Rwanda and the DRC take to prevent further destabilization?
All right. Every challenge has a root cause. I mean, this back to the time of King Leopold. This is the issue. Then the Tutsi and Hutu genocide. It has its roots. And if both leaders have to commit themselves to finding the solution to the root causes, and they need to negotiate, and they must begin to implement the accords that have existed. It's not like there's no framework for peace in this crisis. We've had the Luanda Accord. We also had the Nairobi Accord. There's structure in place for peace. So if they can just put their ego aside or their differences aside and commit themselves to these accords, I think they will find a way forward. They must also engage international and regional partners as well, because mercenaries are fighting in this war. So all the parties involved, from the rebels to SADC, international community, all the parties involved, Congolese and Rwandan leaders, they all must sit together in one room and actually discuss and try to negotiate. Armed conflict doesn't lead to anything, but we've seen negotiation work in history, across the different crises.
It's very interesting to see both gentlemen sitting down together here, and I'm glad that you actually raised or brought in the issue of history. Is it actually history? You talked about King Leopold and the confusion he might have left these countries in. However, is it history that's the main cause here, or is it the minerals that are at stake? Profit, especially with Rwandan interest here. Rwanda, whom we know are not even producers of cobalt, but yet are big exporters. So what exactly is the root cause of the issues?
Yeah, the thing is, the M23, the March 23 rebels, they are Congolese Tutsis. And we have the President Kagame himself is a Rwandan Tutsi. It's just like the Port Novo Yorubas, the Cuban Yorubas, and the Nigerian Yorubas. They're all Yorubas. They're all Tutsi, irrespective of where they're from. And the rebels, M23, they are basically kind of protecting the interests of the Tutsis in Congo, according to them. So I think it's more about the resources. Take the M23 away, then I believe Rwanda will not be able to export what they don't have. So I think it's basically economic interest. And the Tutsi M23, they are sympathetic to the economic interest of the Tutsi in Rwanda. They are all one. They used to be together before they kind of split, before the Berlin Conference that split the continent into different. So I think it's economic interest. And that's why other countries are getting involved as well, to kick them to M23 out so that they can protect their own economic interests further. So I think it's basically economic interest.
Yes, indeed, economic interest. And a correction there, I think the mineral is coltan, not cobalt. I'm correcting myself. Thank you very much, Bolu, for lending us your afternoon and being on this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back. President Donald Trump has revoked his predecessor Joe Biden's security clearance in a sweeping new order, escalating his efforts to reshape U.S. foreign policy and dismantle the nation's primary humanitarian aid agency. In a rapid series of executive actions, the 78-year-old U.S. president also froze aid to South Africa, where his top donor, Elon Musk, was born, and appointed himself chairman of Washington's prestigious Kennedy Center. Trump's move to restrict Biden's access to intelligence briefings mirrors a decision Biden made exactly 4 years ago when he barred Trump from receiving classified information, citing concerns over his erratic behavior before and after the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol. Sports now. The 6th edition of the Nigeria Cricket Federation National Under-17 Championship has begun this weekend, with zonal eliminations set to identify the next generation of cricket stars. The tournament, featuring under-17 boys and girls, will be played across 6 zones. In the South-South, teams will compete in Asaba from February 6 to 10, while the South-East games take place in Afikpo, Ebonyi, from February 7 to 11. North Nigeria, North Central matches will hold in Abuja from February 8 to 12, with Northeast and Northwest games also running from February 8 to 12. Notable past players from this event include Peti Lucky and Prosper Useni. Winners from each zone will face off in the Nationals final as approved by the NCF board. Nigeria's under-17 girls, Flamingos, will on Sunday at the Remo Star Sports Institute Ikenne kickstart their preparations for their 2-leg FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup qualifying clash with the Under-17 girls of South Africa. The 2022 World Cup bronze medalists were drawn to the second round of the Africa qualifiers, while SA fired from all cylinders to steamroll their counterparts from Gabon, 21-2 on aggregate, winning 12-1 in Gabon and 9-1 in South Africa. Coach Bankole Uluokere, who led the team to third place finish in India in 2022 and to the quarterfinal last year, has called up a total of 30 players to begin the campaign on Sunday. The list includes goalkeeper Christiana Ozoma, defender Hannah Ibrahim, and Jumaya Adebayo, midfielders Shakirat Moshood, 4-goal heroine at last year's World Cup finals in the Dominican Republic, and Muniat Rotimi, and forwards Harmony Chidi and Peace Efyong. This year's FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, the competition becomes an annual event for this year. It will be hosted by Morocco, 17 October to 8 November, with Africa to present 5 teams at the finals, which has also been expanded to a 24-nation championship. And that's all for this hour. But before we go, let's take a look at some of the top stories that we brought your way. Abductors are demanding 250 million naira ransom for former Director General of National Youth Service Corps, Maharazu Tsiga. And police have arrested 9 others for the death of Anambra lawmaker Justice Azuka. We also told you that leaders of Rwanda and the DRC are meeting over Eastern DRC conflict. Now do remember, you can watch News Central live on the STV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.